T. Rodgers has been linked to the West Coast Black P. Stones for over 50 years, known as the man who founded the Los Angeles Blood Gang. But what most people get wrong when bringing up the name T. Rodgers is that a blood gang is not what he intended to create. What he wanted was an organization with rules, regulations, and a street code. But as time went on and new generations stopped following the codes that were set in place, his organization changed. So T. Rodgers changed too. T. Rodgers was born on December 12, 1956. His early childhood years were spent on the south side of Chicago, Illinois. In the 1960s, Southside Chicago was considered one of the most dangerous areas in the city. Widespread unemployment and poverty had destroyed what used to be middle-class neighborhoods, and gangs took over streets and communities. T. Rodgers learned about the streets at 7 years old, taught by older kids from his neighborhood, and by the age of 9, he was a member of Chicago's Black Stone Rangers. Formed in the late 1950s by teenagers Jeff Fort and Eugene Hairston, the Black Stone Rangers started out as a group of young men wanting to protect themselves from gangs on Chicago's South Side. But the Black Stone Rangers didn't consider themselves a gang. They were a community organization. There was a president, a vice president, even a spiritual advisor. But over time, as membership grew, the Black Stone Rangers evolved into more of a gang than a community organization. The Rangers' influence spread to other gangs on the South Side, who eventually joined them. And together, they became known as the Ranger Nation. And by the late 1960s, the Ranger Nation had become Black P. Stone Nation, ran by different gang leaders called the Main 21. The Main 21 is who gave 13-year-old T. Rodgers permission to start a Black P. Stone Nation set in Los Angeles, California. T. Rodgers and his family moved to Los Angeles, California in 1969, moving into the LA neighborhood known as the Jungle. Nicknamed the Jungle in the 1950s because of the area's tropical trees and landscaping, the Jungle was once an exclusive Black middle-class neighborhood. But this exclusive neighborhood was not new to gangs. The Jungle Boys had been claiming the jungle as their territory for years before T. Rodgers got there. But with T. Rodgers' arrival came the Black P. Stone Nation. The change from the Jungle Boys to the Black P. Stone Nation didn't happen overnight. It started with T. Rodgers meeting other kids from the neighborhood. He started sharing with them the knowledge and philosophy of the Black P. Stones and began recruiting them to become members of the Stones Nation. While attending Dorsey High School, T. Rodgers recruited more members. Then those members recruited members. And within a few years, the West Coast Black P. Stone Nation had numbers in the hundreds. They also became blood affiliated. But T. Rodgers never intended to start a blood affiliated gang. Same as the founders in Chicago, T. Rodgers was recruiting to build a community-based organization who would better protect their neighborhood. It was never about being a gang. But even as the Black P. Stones evolved into an LA blood gang, T. Rodgers continued holding all of its members to the original philosophy of the Black P. Stones. There were rules, such as Black P. Stone members were required to talk, not fight through their disagreements. Members were also not to rape women or mistreat their elders. And there was a street code. It stated that there was to be no shooting of innocent people, no drive-bys on rival gangs, and no killing between other blood sets. Still a teenager, T. Rodgers, who was a natural leader and teacher, taught that being organized with a street code meant the Black P. Stones would be better at controlling conflicts with enemies and better at stopping violence in their neighborhood. But by the mid-1970s, Crip and Blood gangs had expanded all throughout Los Angeles with new generations of members who didn't follow the same street code. Gangs grew bigger and more vicious, and the streets got more violent. And as issues developed between the Black P. Stones and rival gangs, T. Rodgers found himself in the middle of the violence that comes with being a gang member. In the middle of fights, gang wars, and shootings. And by the time he turned 18, he had been shot 4 times and stabbed twice. By 1975, gangs weren't just protecting their neighborhoods, they were killing each other. And T. Rodgers was ready for a change. Tired of seeing people losing their lives, T. Rodgers decided he wanted to start saving lives.
They walked him into an alley, okay? In the alley, they set him on fire. He rolled around, he put himself out. They beat him up again, they set him on fire. They put a carpet over him. Took a .45 automatic and put his knee on his back and shot him in the back of the head twice. The boy 15 years old.
So he created Sidewalk University, a Los Angeles-based gang intervention program. Through counseling and workshops, Sidewalk University classes gave gang members the tools to make life choices for themselves that didn't involve gang violence. In 1988, T. Rodgers was contacted by NFL Hall of Famer Jim Brown, who had also started a gang intervention program called the AmeriCAN program.
Our program deals with certain components. One of the components that we deal with is peace. It is a bonding of black men who have stood up and came together. And when they came together, peace has happened to be one of the things on the agenda.
T. Rodgers became a national spokesperson for AmeriCAN, a program that not only taught life management skills, but also actively worked in the streets to make peace between warring gangs.
We've always wanted peace. He doesn't want to go to jail. He doesn't want to die. But through the uprising, through the rebellion, we've got a chance to say, hey, look, we came together under this cause. We can make this thing work.
And in 1992, with the combined efforts of the AmeriCAN program, local activists, and LA gang members, a citywide gang truce and peace treaty was established, with several LA gangs agreeing to a ceasefire. This peace treaty successfully reduced gang violence in Los Angeles for years. While working to promote peace in the city, T. Rodgers became one of the leading gang experts in Los Angeles. Often referred to as a gangologist, he trained teachers in schools how to deal with gang members. He worked with city officials to develop gang education programs. And he's been quoted in almost every news article referencing gangs and gang violence in LA since the 80s. But T. Rodgers wasn't only known for his work in the streets. He was also known for becoming one of the first gang members in LA to work in mainstream movies and television, appearing in over 30 movies, videos, and TV shows. But no matter how famous T. Rodgers got, he never left the jungles or stopped helping the community. If you were to have asked someone at the time, how do I find T. Rodgers? They'd have told you to just call his phone. He'll answer. Men, women, kids. T. Rodgers and his Sidewalk University helped everyone for decades. He helped families get money for bail and funerals. He personally counseled people through abuse and trauma. He wrote books, developed self-help programs. He helped hundreds of gang members in LA find jobs. And the list goes on. Whatever T. Rodgers could do to show people a different way other than gang violence, he did it. He even created a board game called Run Gangs Out, made in 1993. From a gang founder and member to his work as an activist and teacher, T. Rodgers put in blood, sweat, tears, and over 50 years into the streets. And although he did have his own biological children, he also had a whole community who looked up to him as a father figure. And to them, T. Rodgers dedicated his whole life to teaching nonviolence and forgiveness. On August 19, 2021, at the age of 64, T. Rodgers passed away. Today, the jungle is officially called Baldwin Village, a name change that happened in the late 80s by the city of LA to try and distance the jungles from its gang history. But the Black P stones still exist there, And although work continues to be done in the community to stop gang violence, it too still exists, and T. Rodgers is no longer here to help stop it. But the number of lives that T. Rodgers changed and saved from violence while he was here is impossible to count, and it's why he'll always be a California legend.